Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Monday Musings-Danny SportsWrap, and it's another edition that we hope to bring you information, fun, and all kinds of good stuff. But remember, if you listen to these podcasts, if you listen at DannyClinkscale.com, then I have an easy way to track you, so I appreciate you listening in that platform, but many people listen in other platforms. And I'll just give you a quick reminder that this is completely free, by the way. If you notice on your device or your laptop or whatever that on the site that you listen to the podcast, there happens to be a follow button. If you hit that and say you're following me, that provides great information for me. It's easier to attract sponsors and keep the engine rolling here at DannyClinkscale.com and the Reasonably Irreverent podcast. So I'd appreciate you doing that and telling your friends to do that as well. Like I said, there is no obligation, and you'll get notifications, and it'll just make your life easier as far as accessing podcasts like Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap, where this time around we'll be talking a lot of college basketball. What the heck? A big 3-game sweep for the Locals. And the way K-State's been going, that's saying something. It's been a long, long time since all three of the Locals won. Missouri has had their struggles. Kansas, of course, about a month ago had a flat spot. But it was a happy Saturday for all the local teams. And, of course, things are rolling out in the desert. They're getting some temperatures that aren't so balmy out there, but it's great compared to what we have. And, of course, we're going to have a little bit of good warm weather coming up for the next few days as well. So spirits are up, and it was a great Saturday of college basketball. And now on this Monday, we look ahead to the home stretch. Home stretch that doesn't mean much in the case of the Wildcats, except maybe they pick up another win and feel good about themselves. Certainly it was a happy day for them after incredible frustration. And Kansas with a big week where they can really increase their prospects with Bill Self feeling great about his team after Saturday's win against Texas Tech. So all that straight ahead here on Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap. And remember to access some content as well at patreon.com/Danny Clinkscale. There's some extra stuff there. That's a subscription site. And, of course, you can get episodes of Between the Lines 2.0 and some other opportunities as well. So check that out if you like to, or just come to the Reasonably Irreverent podcast, enjoy our fine sponsors, and get everything you want for free. So let's get rolling. Coming up next, it's time to visit once again with Dr. Brad Woodle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. And Dr. Brad, your group has reached a significant milestone in receiving a prestigious award.
Danny, we've been honored for the 10th year in a row to receive the 5-Star Service Award from Integrity Doctors. And what this means is that all of our offices throughout Kansas City have made sure to give people excellent chiropractic and acupuncture care, be on time, and do a very complete and thorough job, and have great responses back from patients.
I know firsthand because I was just treated, for instance, today by you. You have a wide range of fantastic services.
Absolutely. Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies, rehab, anything that you need to keep you well in bones, muscles, joints, and nerves.
And I can't say how much it's benefited me in the time I've coming here. Upwards of 2 years, my back has improved 100%. And you can have that same kind of treatment too. For more information and your chance for a healthier way of life, visit asfca.com/Danny today. I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors, offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Visions' goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Let's talk some college basketball, and on Saturday it was a nice day, to say the least, and we got concurrent games with Missouri and Kansas playing, and Missouri made sure that if you really wanted to dig in on both games, you didn't have to worry too much because the Tigers were flat-out dominant in their game against South Carolina. South Carolina is really struggling, and they've lost 5 straight, but Missouri had lost 3 straight, and they were doing it in a fashion that I'm sure was not making Conzo Martin very happy because they had given up 80 or more in all 3 of those games. One did go to overtime, but still, the defense was not there, and they didn't really win with defense yesterday either. It was their offense clicking as they welcomed Jeremiah Tillman back. He, of course, had been out with a death in the family. His grandmother had passed away. He also, in the past year, has lost his grandfather, so he wanted to be with his family for a week, and certainly Missouri is going to miss the big guy the way he's playing these days. And, of course, the way he played on Saturday is just another reminder of how he has been playing because he hit every single shot he took, and that's saying something because 7 of those were free throws, 5 for 5 from the field, 7 of 7 at the line for a player who, coming in, was shooting 49% from the line, has never been a good free throw shooter and continues not to be, but you have a day. Maybe that provides a little confidence at just the right time for the Tigers, who are kind of sliding in the bracketology and everything else. But a win on Saturday certainly makes you feel good, even if it's against lesser competition. And now they have a couple very winnable games left in the last portion of the season before they head to the SEC tournament, maybe finding a little something. The Tigers have been an unusual team, and they've had some second-half meltdowns, and maybe they shook that off on Saturday also because they were in a position where they saw a 17-point lead slide all the way down to 7, but immediately restored order, get it back in the direction that they were looking for, and get themselves a win. And now they're back above the 500 mark as far as SEC play is concerned, and look ahead to taking that balanced approach that they've gotten with Tillman back in the lineup, with some good outside shooting, and maybe a little bit better defense, although this Tiger team is undoubtedly not going to ride their defense, but they're certainly a better defensive team when they have Jeremiah Tillman in the center. And so maybe a little boost in the step for Conzo Martin's team. Actually, this slide had raised questions about maybe his future as far as the Missouri Tigers, not in the immediate term. I don't think there was any way that a team that's been ranked most of the year is going to fire their coach, but the overall arc of where the program has been under Conzo Martin, which has been sort of like his resume in his entire coaching career, which has been seemingly just a little bit above average and with occasional bright spots and maybe not expectations quite being met. He has an unbelievably good contract from his side of it that somehow his agent was able to wangle with the Missouri Board of Curators, and he's very, very difficult to get rid of. And as I said, the discussion had sorted to start to bubble up when they lost 3 straight games, and maybe they thought they potentially were headed to the point where they could miss the NCAA tournament. There's no way that's going to happen now. Even if they were to fall, say, 3 consecutive times, including the SEC tournament, I doubt there would be in any peril of missing the tournament. But the win Saturday certainly was a good one for the Missouri Tigers. A good one for the Kansas Jayhawks also, as they played Texas Tech and swept the series. It was the 5th straight win on Saturday for the Kansas Jayhawks, and of course, before the game against Texas Tech, you could say that it was not a very impressive win streak, although the first game was against Oklahoma State. They were a ranked team, but then you get 2 against Iowa State, you get a game against Kansas State. Was that really a streak that was full of bona fides? The offense had continued to struggle, and to be honest, the offense wasn't great on Saturday either, as Kansas certainly only puts up in the high 60s in the ball game, fended off a rally at the end, played great defense, and that seems to be a calling card of their team right now. David McCormick has made some adjustments in how he plays ball screens and how he settles back into the lane and maybe doesn't challenge as much and get beat off the bounce. And they've adjusted the way that Kansas guards ball screens also, and they have really gotten Jalen Wilson going. He has become a double-double machine. He had a double-double on Saturday again, and McCormick was excellent, made all of his shots in the first half, ended up with a very efficient 17-point game. They basically got contributions, at least small contributions, all across the board, and even Christian Braun, who had missed all but one of his 3-pointers, had to make a big one late in the game when Texas Tech had whittled an 11-point lead down to 3 on Saturday. And he hit the shot. The shot clock was winding down. It sort of cinched the game, and Kansas got a victory over a ranked team. And now you're seeing them projected in the 5, potentially can get to 4 line. Now this week is going to tell a lot about Kansas. They get the win Saturday against Texas Tech, but now they face 2 teams that basically handled them quite easily. Texas obliterating Kansas on their home court, and Baylor winning comfortably in Waco. So this time around it will be Kansas heading to the drum after Texas lost a tough one, blowing a big lead to West Virginia on Saturday, and they will be bouncing back off of that. And Shaka Smart's team trying for the rarest of birds, which would be a sweep of Kansas in the season series. Kind of hard to see that where Kansas could compete with Baylor the way they have played, but Baylor hasn't played much basketball, and so we'll see if that game even comes up on a week from on Saturday. And Baylor's played, I think, 1 game in almost a month, so maybe they're a little bit rusty. They are the class of the league when they play, but maybe they won't be in quite tip-top form, and if Kansas were to go down and beat Texas, they'd have a lot of momentum. They'd be coming back to their home court. Of course, there's only 2,500 fans at Allen Fieldhouse. That certainly makes a difference. I don't think Texas ever would have won by the amount they did at Allen Fieldhouse if there were a packed house there. But at least it's some home advantage, and Bill Self feeling outstanding about his team. By the way, when you're watching a game where Chris Beard and Bill Self are coaching, it's mask optional, to say the least. They spend more time, as far as I am seeing them on the sidelines, with their mask down than with their mask on. But that's a topic for another day, and a topic that anybody out there probably has their own feelings on. But basketball-wise, Bill Self couldn't be happier. He feels like his team is playing the kind of prideful defense that he likes, and he likes when his teams can make people play make other teams play ugly, and they certainly were able to do that on Saturday. And we see him feeling like the team can shoot a little bit better. They can play the kind of defense they've played over the 5-game stretch. They have won games where they've won in the 50s. They won again in the 50s against Texas Tech earlier this year. They won in the 50s against Kansas State the other day, and they won with an average offensive day. And it's been well chronicled. This is, at least as of now, the worst offensive team that Bill Self has had by a variety of different metrics, but still has the chance for improvement, I would say. And they have morphed a little bit more into kind of a standard Bill Self type of offense. There was a lot of talk for a while that maybe they'd be better off if David McCormick wasn't the hub of the offense, but he has really started to play strong basketball over the past couple of weeks. And as I mentioned, the team has sort of rode the performances of Jalen Wilson when he was playing like an all-conference player. They were very good. They were in the top 10 in the country. Then when they went through the flat spot where they lost 5 out of 6, he wasn't very good at all. In fact, in some games he almost had zero production. And then somehow the light switch went back on. He's been a very willing offensive rebounder. He has been in positions where David McCormick has taken a lot of the pressure off him. He's more interested, it seems, in his rebounding, and then he's a relaxed scorer at this point in time, and he has games like he did on Saturday worth 11 points and 11 rebounds. So Kansas is trying to find their way as a gritty team, but the next level, the level that could make them dangerous at tournament time, is that if they become a slightly better offensive team, which you would think they have the weapons to do so. Their biggest problem, obviously, is the fact that they don't have a point guard who can get his own, and they don't have somebody who, and it's been a long line of players there at Kansas where they've had a point guard who could, with the shot clock winding down, create something, maybe make those 3-4 baskets in a game that make life so much easier. They really don't have that. They have one point guard who's more of a scorer. They have one point guard who is a nice distributor but doesn't score very much at all. So that's a limiting thing as far as any basketball team is concerned. But the ceiling for Kansas is if they continue to play the style that Bill Self likes right now and then dollop on a little more offense as we head to Indianapolis, where it was announced this week there will be fans, 25% capacity. That includes everybody, though. It includes the families, the officials. So the fans will not make up a great percentage of that, maybe 2/3 of the 25%. So, but there will be some kind of atmosphere at the games at the NCAA tournament, all to be played in the Indianapolis area, and we'll see how that looks and feels. It's just looking at bracketology, you already see that there's been one impact as far as the coronavirus is concerned, and the regions are just Region 1, Region 2, Region 3, Region 4. Not differentiated by geographical designation. So very interesting times, and let's hope it gets to be less interesting times as times roll along. For the Kansas State Wildcats, it was just giddiness that you don't see after just a lone win in a season, splashing water on each other, laughing at Zoom press conferences and everything else. I heard the post-game interview on the radio with Bruce Weber, and his voice was scratchy from yelling and celebrating, and he was clearly so happy for his team, and they had played better basketball of late, more competitive basketball, but certainly against Kansas they didn't make any shots at all, and so that didn't reflect very well. They, in this 13-game losing streak, which was the longest in any particular season, not the longest overall, they did on Saturday break that particular streak for overall losses. It was 14's the record over 2 seasons. So they did set the record for consecutive losses within a season, but they stopped on Saturday the record for losses overall with their win at TCU. Did it in the kind of fashion that Bruce Weber thought they would. He was talking to his assistant coaches before the game or in the days leading up to the game and noted that they were saying, we got to do something about this offense. And he's like, no, we got to play defense. He says, we got to hold these guys under 60 points or we're going to lose. And he was absolutely right. They got 62, they won. And if they had allowed 60 or 61, they still would have won. But he was right that they had to really control TCU, and they did so. They get contributions all around, and it was a great day for Mike McGurl, the senior, the one who will be honored on Tuesday night at their senior night, the only player who will be. Of course, they get some managers and such who will be honored, but McGurl had a nice day, hit some three-pointers, and a couple of the other freshmen made some plays. Selton Miguel down the stretch had 5 consecutive points. It looked like K-State, while playing another tough game on Saturday, was going to lose again because TCU had pulled ahead by 5, seemed to have all the momentum, and the Cats ended up closing on, I believe, a 16-2 run on Saturday. So, it's just a sigh of relief. I've traveled with college basketball teams. While it's a nice thing, when you're losing, it's not. There's a lot of basketball that you're playing. You go, you have shoot-around, you play that night, and when you're traveling, it's anything but glamorous, really. And it's just a grind, but it's a grind that is rewarded when you go out and you win some games. So if you haven't won in 54 days and you snap that streak, they hadn't won since they won one conference game, then they won a non-conference game against Omaha, and then they haven't won since, and that was back in December. And that's just no fun. And you could hear the relief and the joy for Bruce Weber, for his team, for the hard work he put in. He said he'd been begging them not to quit. And the indication was that they didn't. They were getting blown out every game for a while, and then they had started to play better, and this time around they got rewarded with a win. The type of game I'm sure that Jamie Dixon of TCU is just horrified at. You just don't let a team like K-State beat you like that and only score 54 points. His program seems to, after a promising start, kind of flatlined. It's tough if you are a lower echelon team in the Big 12. There's a lot of good teams, and digging yourself out of a hole like that is very difficult, and you kind of expect a program like Iowa State to bounce back. And if you're TCU, where do you find your wins? And it's his alma mater. He probably made a good career move after making the NCAA tournament almost all the time at Pittsburgh, restarting the shot clock, as it were, but a very disappointing day on Saturday for him, and a basically gleeful day for Kansas State. They know that they, at the very least, will not be in a position where they will close out the season by losing every game. They're now 2 games clear of Iowa State for last place in the Big 12, and obviously they have a few basketball games left, and they get to do it with a little bit of a skip on their step after their win on Saturday. Let's talk a little Kansas City Royals and some news and notes from around the world of sports as well on this Monday. Appreciate you dialing in, and of course we always provide a variety of things here at DannyKlinkskill.com and the Reasonably Irreverent podcast, from Thirsty Thursdays to Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, our profiles on Friday. There's lots of things for you to listen to, and we appreciate it. And make sure that you check out our sponsors and their array of fine services as well. And if you're somebody out there with a business that would like to take advantage of the marketing we have here at DannyKlinkskill.com, just get a hold of me at DannyKlinkskill.com via email. I'd appreciate that. And let's talk a little Royals baseball in the sun and some fun notes there coming up.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with David Schmidt from Private Capital. And David, tell us more about your outstanding firm.
Thanks, Danny. Here at Private Capital, we focus on return on asset. In today's world, it is survival of the fittest. We look at things from all angles and try to figure out what works best for you. The changes we will see this next year on assets will be monumental. The key to success is knowledge. Know where you want to go, and we'll be here along the way. To find out more, give us a call at 816-221-7775.
David Schmidt from Private Capital with the best service for you.
Right now, it's more important than ever to support local businesses. And 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence is open and ready to take care of you. Make 23rd Street Brewery part of your KU game day experience, whether you watch the game there or grab curbside pickup for your tailgates or watch parties.
But not just game days. 23rd Street Brewery is great any day of the week, and when the weather's nice, you can take advantage of their heaters on the patio. 23rd Street Brewery is open daily from 11:30 to 9 for dine-in, carry-out, curbside pickup, and can even help with your catering needs.
So support local and visit a Lawrence favorite, 23rd Street Brewery.
Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from RecExpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit RecExpert.com and learn more. Firsthand, I have enjoyed the benefits of the CBD products from Canaway. My back feels better and better these days, as a major part of my routine are the pain-relieving salve and the Pure Gold oil. And recently, I had the pleasure of a treatment session using the Canaway CBD in conjunction with the Microlight 830 cold laser. The non-invasive treatment session worked wonders, and I could barely tell I was even being touched. TML 830 is the first 3B cold laser to get FDA approval, and in addition, the combination treatment with CBD is patent pending. The new smart laser is the only hands-free cold laser in the world and is used by athletic trainers, chiropractors, MDs, physical therapists, and veterinarians everywhere. You can learn more about all the great benefits from the complete line of Canaway CBD products by contacting my friend Sherry McCants at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312 to get outstanding information about Canaway. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkScale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back, and the pitchers and catchers have reported, and there's a little sense of optimism that there always seems to be. Saw a tweet the other day by the former Royals beat writer Bob Dutton, and he said that baseball is a little bit different. He said every single training camp or spring training that he went to, at some point during that time, he would think optimistically that the team could be good even when they were bad so often during the time that he was there. He said that was different from other sports he's covered, that just the nature of it, the length of spring training, maybe it's the sunshine that you're escaping when you are coming from a colder climate, and that creates a little bit of optimism as well. The players talk optimistically. Guys are in the best shape of their lives. There's statements like that made all the time. But certainly the Royals have made enough moves in the offseason to give you the feeling that they, at the very least, can be a better team, and maybe they can be a competitive team. I think that this team, it's not going to be in any way, shape, or form a success if they are at the level that a lot of people are predicting them to be, which is 72, 73, 71 wins. That's not acceptable to me. They have to win some games. I've said it on multiple platforms that I don't think they can get the kind of improved performances from the people you want to get those improved performances from and not win games. I mean, it would just be impossible if they go out there and win 68, 69, 70 games. Then they will not have had improvement from the people they need to improve if they're going to be a viable team in the future. They've made the acquisitions, go around the diamond, Santana at first, Lopez at second, Mondesi at short, and Dozier at third, and then obviously in left field, you've got Andrew Benintendi. Michael Taylor is in center field, and right field, of course, will be patrolled, or at least some of the time, by Whit Merrifield. And Sal Perez is behind the plate. That's a viable team. If you're going to truly be a team that can contend, you probably need some offense from Mondesi and Perez that they haven't gotten. Mondesi has never been at the point where they thought he would be. If he was a star right now, which they thought he was going to be and have told us all along he was going to be, then they'd have a pretty salty lineup. But he has not, and we've just seen it only in fleeting stretches. Nicky Lopez is a fine fielder, but it looks to me like he's given us enough evidence that he's not going to be able to hit at the major league level, but he's still young. He's still got the opportunity to change that mindset. This team really will live and die with their pitching. They have the capability of being a good pitching staff with pitchers who still to come. They have challenges in the fact that last year was not a normal year, that young pitchers didn't get to pitch as much or at all in their development. Guys who did pitch, like Brady Singer and Chris Bubich and people like that, didn't get to put up the kind of innings that mark a step forward for them, so you have to be careful with how they pitch, so that puts an important load on the likes of Mike Minor and Danny Duffy and Brad Keller to create innings. Danny Duffy's never pitched more than 170 innings in any one of his career, but if he did that, if he pitched 170 innings in this day and age, the way bullpens are used, that's a good total, and Minor's been a bit of a workhorse by major league standards currently, and Keller certainly has the ability to do that. He's a big horse of a pitcher, so they have some opportunities, but what we've seen since, basically since 2016 is a team that ends up having more of the questions answered in a negative fashion than in a positive fashion. They generally have gotten off to dreadful starts. A couple times they've played a little bit better at the end, supposedly gearing up some optimism for the following year, only to fall flat again. They kind of did that again last year, and so they certainly did it the year before. So tough to judge. They basically won at a percentage that would be about 72 wins in the shortened 60-game season last year, and we'll see what happens April 1st is when they start playing. How many fans we'll get to have at the ballpark, that'll be something that we'll have to look for. Hopefully by summertime, we'll be able to go out there and enjoy ourselves and have a cold beer and sit in the sunshine and watch some baseball. And I think many, many people will be really hungry to do that. Maybe some will be a little more fearful still, even if the vaccines have done that, even if it is 100% capacity that's allowed. We'll just have to wait and see. My wife and I went to the movies yesterday, so that was a step forward in our lives and a real refreshing thing. Certainly we were careful about it, and there was hardly anybody there, so that really helped. But it's just a different world, and the Royals trying to provide that kind of optimism that baseball can. I think baseball's been hurt, I think I said this last week, as much as any sport, I think, by the fact that fans can't be in the stands. It's a summertime activity. You want to get outside. A lot of times you're going to the ballpark, maybe not even caring that much what the result is. It's just the whole experience of being outside and a warm day and a cold beverage and watching baseball and thinking about your younger days or looking forward to better days. And maybe the Royals can provide that as well. There's kind of a neat story that came out of spring training over the weekend, and it's the fact that Danny Duffy is going to, in tribute to Yordano Ventura, wear number 30. Now, there's a story behind this. This wasn't even really Duffy's idea, and you wouldn't really say whose idea it was, as a matter of fact. But Carlos Santana has worn 41 his entire career, and, of course, Danny Duffy has worn 41 for the Royals his entire career, and he was perfectly willing to give up that number. And it was also noticed that they were going to circulate the numbers around again, and number 30 was going to become available. Danny Duffy decided that it was a good idea, as a longstanding member of the team, that he could pay tribute to Yordano Ventura. They checked it out with his mom, Ventura's mom, and she said that she was on board for it. So it is kind of a unique, neat story that Danny Duffy, who has had an amazingly roller coaster ride with the Royals. He has moments of where you just feel like maybe they ought to walk away from him, and then he has so many thoughtful things to say in thoughtful moments, and then there'll be another hiccup in his life. But he's generally just been a good guy in his time here in Kansas City, and this is another good guy move for him. And, of course, maybe if he's not pitching well with number 30, he'll have some second thoughts about it, but maybe he'll get a little extra inspiration by it as well. But kind of a cool story down in spring training for the Kansas City Royals. Let's do a little golf, and a reminder that even at the highest levels of the game, golf is very, very hard, and it was certainly shown in the Genesis Open in Los Angeles at famed Riviera, tournament now hosted by Tiger Woods and his foundation, and he ended up giving the tournament trophy to Max Homa. We'll eventually work our way around to that. The best field of the year gathered there, and so naturally the likes of Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas went out and missed the cut by a mile. Some of the other contenders became pretenders. Dustin Johnson, the number one player in the world, was there all week long, but ended up fading away into a top 10 finish. But a final round of over par. One over par was the first time since last year at Los Angeles that in the final round of a tournament he had shot over par. It appeared for the entire week that Sam Burns was going to get his first career win, and in fact, after fading a little bit on Saturday, but still with a two-shot lead entering the week, he played strong golf on the front side, had himself a nice lead, was back to all the way to 13 under par, and then he went out and shot 38 on the back nine and missed the playoff by a shot. Tony Finau, who has 21 top 5 finishes in the last 4 years without winning a tournament. There are 5 other players who've done that, and they all have won at least 4 and as many as 12 tournaments. He's won none, and he's still won none. This time around, it was a little different. Usually he goes out on Sunday, doesn't shoot a particularly good score, kind of fades away or finishes second or third and picks up a giant bucket of points and money, but doesn't get the win. This time around, it was different. He was a little further back. He shot a great 64, but then he was poised to have opportunities to win at the end, and he didn't do it. In fact, it would have been better if Max Homa, who drilled a shot within 3.5 feet on the last hole, had made that putt. Then Finau wouldn't have had to go to a playoff and wouldn't have failed in the playoff twice, where he missed 2 putts inside 10 feet. Eventually, Homa makes par on the second hole, and he wins the tournament. He's from Los Angeles. It was a great story. He burst into tears afterwards. He said he was too afraid at times to even talk to Tiger Woods. Now he would Tiger Woods forced to be talked to him because he had to give him the trophy. So it was kind of a neat story all around, but a really fascinating tournament. And now they head to the East Coast and the Florida swing. But Max Homa, who has been a great player since he was a little kid. In fact, started coming to this tournament when he was 2. Gets his second PGA Tour win. Tony Finau is still left wanting, but trying to say all the right things and be positive. And Sam Burns had the pressure of having the lead all week long and couldn't quite pull it off. So really interesting golf tournament on a great golf course. It was great television, had the feel of a major a little bit, winning score, relatively not crazy at 12 under par, and good conditions on Sunday, and a lot of players. You just always see this in golf tournaments. The players in the final group, Dustin Johnson was in the final group, Matthew Fitzpatrick was in the final group, they often shoot the worst scores of the day and don't seize it. It just is a lot easier, it seems, to not play in that final group. And Max Homa was in the second to last group, and he ends up getting his second PGA Tour win. And golf brings you a little bit of a chance to grab some goodies. The first person who answers this question for me, let's make it the first 2 people. And except for the people who won last time we did this, will get themselves a T-shirt and a gift certificate from the 23rd Street Brewery. All you have to do is weigh in on what you think of the hoodie in golf. I'm anti-hoodie. Just send me an email at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. And if you're one of the first 2 people to weigh in as to whether you like the hoodie on the golf course, like Dustin Johnson was sporting on Saturday on a cool day, or you are against the hoodie, which I am. I guess I'm more traditional. It looks like something you ought to wear when you're just going to the grocery store, not on the golf course, but it's becoming a little bit trendy. Tyrell Hatton wore one in winning a big tournament, the big flagship tournament on the European Tour last year in the final round, and Dustin Johnson sported it on Saturday. So I say I'm anti-hoodie, but if you weigh in with that at an email at danny@dannyclinkscale.com and you're one of the first 2 respondents, I'll send you a T-shirt and a gift certificate to the 23rd Street Brewery just for listening. And finally, congratulations to Patrick Mahomes and his girlfriend. They announced the birth of their baby girl on Sunday, Sterling Sky Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes was hoping that the baby would wait till after the Super Bowl. The baby obliged, and now they have their first child. So congratulations, and everybody feels great about everything that Patrick Mahomes does. And this is, I'm sure, a great feeling for him after the disappointment of the Super Bowl to have the birth of his first child. So kind of a neat name as well. Everything you do that Patrick Mahomes seems to do turns to gold, except for that one Sunday down in Tampa. That's another edition of Monday Musings, Danny Sports Wrap. Make sure to check out all the things that are Danny Clinkscale at dannyclinkscale.com, the Reasonably Irreverent Podcast. You can check me out at patreon.com /Danny Clinkscale if you want more content. That is a patron site. Helps keep the engines rolling, just like our great sponsors do as well. And we'll see you all through the week with various different platforms, various different styles of podcast right here at dannyclinkscale.com. and the Reasonably Irreverent Podcast. Have a great week.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent Podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent Podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.